Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mario Pichardo. Welcome to another episode of Methods. Today, we're going to be talking not about politics, not about any particular issue in general. Um, but without further ado, let's get started. For those of you who are listening to the podcast now, if you um, enjoy what you hear, please feel free to share the video. It's really the only way that we're going to get traction at this point. um, we don't really get suggested on YouTube, and our podcast is small enough to where people really do have to find it. So if you do find this to be, if you like the content, if you like the show, please feel free to spread it around. Now, for the uninitiated, Methods is a podcast where we kind of go off topic, we go off script, we kind of just deal with specific topics. We cover them as we go through. Doesn't necessarily have a set theme or anything like that, though I am thinking about making it more so about men's issues as we're seeing more and more men, uh, you know, remove themselves from society. I'd like to create a place where we can discuss men's issues, kind of keep it more of a place where men have a space to at least a reliable podcast where you can come back and the issues cater to or are about around things that you care about. Um, so today, kind of just wanted to talk about. I was reading this book by Joseph Murphy. It's called "The Power of Your Subconscious Mind." Um, and there is a note that I want to make about it that I do want to talk about it on this show. Now, I used to be a New Age person. It is more so of a New Age style book, insofar that uh, the power of your subconscious mind, uh, does talk about a lot of New Age kind of the law of attraction kind of deal. Now, I used to be heavy into this. I moved out. I stepped out of it because, well, I found out that, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. And of course, I had to step out from that. I had a bout with New Age around my college years, a couple of years ago now. And I was so sure that it was right. I was so sure that it was right. Um, and I, by chance, met someone who worked in uh, the space of uh, evangelism to a degree. And when I was speaking to them, and I was talking to them about a book that I was writing at the time to kind of share New Age ideas with more and more people, uh, they challenged my beliefs. And I was um, apprehensive at first, but then I said, okay, well, you know what? Let me give this person the benefit of the doubt and try this thing, and maybe it'll work out. Who knows? So I decided to jump in and give that thing a shot. And before I knew it, here's where I ended up. And so uh, I sincerely asked God. I said, if you are real, if you're there, and I'm going down a bad path, reveal it to me. And within the span of 48 hours after me, praying and asking God to reveal Himself, well, I was happened to be on YouTube and I found a video that completely broke down how New Age was satanic, and uh, it was just perfect. It was exactly the way I needed to see it, and from that moment on, I converted and I became a Christian, and I've never looked back since. And it's been um, a rough journey. Being a Christian is not necessarily the easiest thing. It is at the beginning because you're really learning everything and how things work. You're not so much practicing it, or it's so new that it's not uh, overbearing to a degree. And well, our Bibles talk about that. It says how you you have to really give up your life moving forward to be a Christian. Um, and there are definitely times in my life, parts in my life where I haven't been an exemplary Christian even now. I think he can always do a better job. And I think that's probably true for all of us, where we all fall short. And that's why there's a piece in our Bibles where Jesus tells us to have faith and or not faith, but that we're under grace. And so the Lord understands that we make mistakes. So long as we repent from those mistakes and turn away, ask forgiveness for those sins that we've committed. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this book that I've been reading is not because I've turned away from what the Bible teaches. I think that that's still 100% true. Uh, in fact, I think that this book makes some references to the Bible that aren't exactly right. However, what is interesting is that I am testing some of these more New Age ideas, and they are working for me in some ways. So let me explain. So the book really explains. Okay, so the whole premise of the law of attraction is this idea that if you want something, right, then you need to sort of build faith within yourself that the thing that you're after has already been given to you. So it's about uh, part affirmation, part really faith. It's about how do I more or less kind of change my internal beliefs, but not on a level of our awareness, but at a deeper level, the deepest level, the part of our minds or brains that is responsible for the our heart beating, that's responsible for the routines that we don't even have to think about but just execute. And so our subconscious is responsible for that. That is its job, is to make sure that we are doing the things that we otherwise wouldn't, the very things that would otherwise be too difficult for us to do. So, okay, well, how do you do it? Well, sometimes like you could have an idea to want to do something, like, for example, you have this idea and you say, well, I want to lose weight, right? And so how it works is you're really battling your conscious awareness. So with your five senses, you can observe yourself and say, well, I am overweight. Let's say you weigh 250 pounds. That's obese for your height. And you want to be skinny and you want to be chiseled even, and you want to be in good shape. And you say, well, I want to see if I can use the law of attraction to lose this weight. And so how it's explained is that you need to have faith that that you've lost the weight, essentially. So you move from a space, and of course that you look at yourself and you say, well, objectively, using my five senses, that's not necessarily true. But the premise is that by having faith meaning that it's not something you can actively perceive as having occurred. That's what faith is. By having faith that you have already achieved the thing that you're after, with like experiences of allowing yourself to feel gratitude that your call's already been answered, that you can slowly internally change your subconscious idea about that concept. So in fact, you can make yourself believe that your weight issue has been handled, and that by so doing that, it moves into the realm of reality. In other words, you can achieve really almost anything by the process of doing this. And so that's really the interesting part, is that the claim is that any issue, any sort of problem that you have can be handled this way through the law of attraction. Now, the my caution is in not taking this one concept and kind of allowing yourself to be fall down the rabbit hole of believing a lot of the things that New Age teaches, because I do think a lot of New Age is damaging, and I do think a lot of it tries to pull you away from God. For example, one of the claims of New Age is that, well, no, we're all kind of God. And so it attempts to use quantum mechanics and, these recent developments in physics to make the listener believe that on a spiritual plane, well, there isn't a Jesus necessarily, but we collectively are a God. And we need to be careful, because that message is very dangerous. Jesus tells us, he says he's the only way, the only truth, and the only light. And so I'm someone who likes to look at things outside of Christianity and see if there's a necessary usefulness in them. However, with caution, because the message of the Bible, I think, will always be the message, right? Like that is what is truth is here. So my concern is to going too far outside of that, to the point where you begin to say, well, I'm my own God, or I'm my own, I salvage myself, and things like that. So I'd bring a level of caution to it. But that's essentially what the teaching of this book is, and it speaks about different ways that you can prevent becoming. How do you make sure that you can do that? There are different ways. Sometimes, like, you'll, that'll be like your affirmation, right? And you try to get yourself to believe that. So you kind of repeat the statement, because one of the ways that you can get yourself to believe something is through repetition, the power of repetition of words. However, sometimes what'll happen is, well, you'll tell yourself, okay, I'm skinny, or I'm toned. But consciously, you're perceiving that that's not true. And because of that, what you're actually doing is you're doing the opposite affirmation, where you're saying, I'm not skinny, I'm fat. Because your body, every time you say that, is resisting those statements. It's resisting those affirmations. So in actuality, it's not as simple as that. However, it does discuss some workarounds to achieving your end anyway. And so instead of, for example, you'd say, I'm skinny, you would say every day and every night, all throughout the day, I am advancing towards the completion of my goals or my interests. My interests are being advanced every day and every night, bit by bit, minute by minute, is how I like to say it, minute by minute. And the reason that you say it like that is because you're not met with internal resistance. In other words, your statement of I'm skinny is not being countered consciously by the reality that you're looking at your 5 sentences and saying, well, no, I know that's not true. Because you're not making a statement of a tangible statement that your body can simply refute. And so what happens is your body, that statement in and of itself, because it's not being fought back against, it kind of just goes down to a subconscious level as a thought that you have. Because how it's explained is that your subconscious beliefs are the beliefs that you hold that your body or that your mind believes as being true statements. The problem with that is that you can get yourself to believe things that aren't true necessarily. However, the things that you get yourself to believe are true become your reality. In other words, your body will put you into situations or positions where this subconscious belief about who you are can be affirmed, even if those beliefs can be detrimental to you. For example, if you have a belief that you're a terrible employee, for example, your mind, your body is going to put you into situations to show that. And it's not that it wants you to fail, it's that it doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's not. Whenever something gets to the subconscious level, it kind of just exists as a thing that your body believes is real and works with the quote unquote collective universe to bring that idea or ideology uh, into the five sensory world. So, in other words, it'll try to create circumstances in which those character traits are able to be expressed, able to be shown, able to be experienced. So, it'll try to put you into situations that'll show that you're a bad employee viscerally to you. So, however, the opposite is also true, and that's that, if you can get yourself to subconsciously believe that you're skinny as a fat person, well, then your body would work in whatever way it would work to help you to lose the weight. However that would occur, and a part of it is also not a big part of it is also not trying to anticipate how it's going to happen. It's more so about allowing things to occur as they occur. So in other words, you're not sitting here and saying, "Oh, well, you should believe this, this is exactly how it's going to happen. This is exactly how this," because when you do that, you kind of limit, as far as I understand it, you really kind of limit your options of what is possible. And by trying to take that level of control, you kind of make it even more difficult for the process to occur. So, from my understanding, just explaining all that this is something I'm experimenting with because I'm curious to see the extent by which it's possible to implement something like this. It seems very interesting. I'll keep you guys posted as far as some things that I've tried that may have worked. Um, and a part of it too is believing that it will, right? So I'm messing around with it. I'll let you know how that progresses. Um, in other news, I do, as I was saying before, having the podcast to be more of a style where, we kind of keep it more casual, kind of just talking about whatever. I didn't want to have a set criteria like this podcast has to be about this podcast has to be that. I want to let it be more casual. I'd like to have people on at some point to kind of just talk about whatever random things, things that have been going on, things like that. Maybe current events, but I don't want to make it a political show at all. I think there's a lot more out there besides politics, and I think that politics really gets enough coverage. I also think it's too serious and that it's too uh, antagonistic. It's a negative. It's a pretty negative sphere, pretty toxic. I think just in general, there's a lot of negativity surrounding it, and I'd like to keep things more focused on kind of just a general kind of thing because that's really the direction I started to go in more so. So I don't know. Maybe we talk about games. Maybe we talk about music or movies or stuff like that. As a Christian, I try not to listen to too much music or watch too many movies. Uh, so we'll see how far that goes. Anyway, we'll try. We'll see where things go. We'll hit our stride eventually, I'm sure. So we should be fine there. Um, you know, since we're kind of on the topic here now, I've always been the kind of person who was super, super serious, super kind of like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And it's because I was really, I think, scared for a large part of my life. And having the ability to kind of chill out and relax and do a casual sort of podcast, a casual sort of conversation or talk or get together, I think would be really good for me from a perspective of, just chilling out and just allowing things to be. I don't anticipate this being very politically correct, which I think is definitely a good thing. Uh, I think that the world right now is taking things way too seriously, and we could probably all benefit from relaxing just a little bit. So we'll do that. We'll try it out. We'll see how that goes. Um, yeah. So thank you guys for listening. We'll end this here. Uh, if you guys like the video, if you guys like the podcast, if you guys like this kind of conceptual show, please like the video, share with your friends so that we can get more people out there knowing about it. Because of social media algorithms, it's pretty tough to reach people without you guys going out there and sharing it yourselves. It really does help. So thank you guys for anything that you do, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode, which will be sent out tomorrow, should be. So you guys can look forward to that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.